Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 77. Tonight, we're going to have two articles we're going to talk about. The first one is from the Boston Globe, and it's about Jeffrey Epstein, obviously, and the probe from the DOJ, and why there hasn't been any movement on that front. The House Committee on Oversight is demanding documents in the case, so we're going to see if there's going to be any movement there, or if, like usual, the Department of Justice goes rogue and does whatever they want. Because no matter how many of these committees we have that are there, oh, this is a committee on House Oversight, or this is an oversight committee on insert whatever here, we really know that there's not very much oversight really going on. All you have to do is take a look at the way these groups conduct themselves, right? These departments in the federal government, look at the way they conduct themselves. People falling asleep, people dying in their care. You know, it's a nightmare. And then when they're called upon to produce documents or to state why this occurred, they either throw up a sacrificial lamb or they just ignore everything. And, you know, what's going to happen? It's the Department of Justice. Who's going to hold them accountable? The committees can't. Because the committees aren't honorable themselves, so nobody believes the committees either. And that's what happens when you have so much partisan BS, folks. This is what happens. There's a chasm. Nobody believes anything on either side. There's several different realities. And somewhere underneath all of that BS is the truth. So, I don't know what to say about any of that nonsense, but what I do know I'm going to talk about tonight are those two articles. So, if you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. All right, let's not waste any time tonight, huh? I know you guys probably have plans. It's Friday. You want to hear my yapping to a minimum, I'm sure. So, let's jump right into the first article, and that is the one about the House asking for the documents. Boston Globe. Headline: House asked for documents in Jeffrey Epstein probe from DOJ. The House Committee on Oversight and Reform sent a letter to U.S. Attorney General William Barr asking for all emails about a secret plea deal Epstein took and how victims should have been notified. You really think they're going to have those emails still? Come on, guys. Really? What is that? The beginning of Obama's term? I think there's been some house cleaning since then, right? And I'm not laying that at Obama's feet, by the way. I'm talking about when the Bush administration was leaving office. I'm sure they set fire to everything. Because we all know that those people were criminals. From top down, those people were criminals in the Bush administration. So if you think that anything has been preserved, I highly doubt that. West Palm Beach, Florida. House Democrats asked for documents from federal prosecutors and Florida law enforcement officials on Friday as part of a probe into how financier pedophile Jeffrey Epstein received a secret plea deal more than a decade ago after he was accused of molesting underage girls. It's a good question. We're all wondering, how did he get this plea deal? Nobody wants to answer any questions. Alan Dershowitz is busy running around in his tighty whities getting massages, right? Making all kinds of backroom deals like it's the wild, wild west, or like they're at Tammany Hall in old New York. And the people? We don't deserve any answers. Judges, throw that out, lock this. The people don't need to see that. That's going to embarrass this one. Well, guess what? If you're hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein, especially after he was convicted of what he was convicted of, you deserve to be embarrassed. The House Committee on Oversight and Reform sent a letter to U.S. Attorney General William Barr asking for all emails about the plea deal and how victims should have been notified. Earlier this year, a federal judge ruled Epstein's victims should have been consulted under federal law about the deal. Epstein reached the deal in 2008 with then Miami U.S. Attorney Alexandra Acosta's office to end the federal probe that could have landed him in prison for life. Epstein instead pleaded guilty to lesser state charges, spent 13 months in jail, paid financial settlements to victims, and registered as a sex offender. You see the difference there, folks? You see the two-tier justice system right there before your eyes? It's almost like you put on a pair of those 3D glasses and you went to sit in the theater and it just jumped right out at you, huh? Because there it is, right there in black and white, right there for anyone to see. Jeffrey Epstein gets off with 13 months when he should have went to jail for life, and you have people getting killed over selling Lucy cigarettes on a street corner. I don't know about you, and I don't care about your politics, but there's a big problem when that's the case. Acosta was appointed labor secretary by President Donald Trump, but he resigned in July amid renewed scrutiny of the secret plea deal. Low-hanging fruit. Acosta should have went, but it seemed like the second Acosta was gone, all the pressure was let up by the media. When they didn't think they could pin it on Trump anymore, they focused on something else that they thought they could pin on Trump. So, look, don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you how it is. The media does not really care about this case, folks. They don't care. Look what ABC did. Who's Jeffrey Epstein? Then CBS rallying around to protect ABC and fire the poor producer who wasn't even the one who had the leak. Now, you just flip that with any sort of controversy around Donald Trump and you see the coverage. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I really don't care. But the fact is, there's a discrepancy. All these other cases that should be just as investigated, that are just as important, this isn't just a case of sexual trafficking, folks, and that's why they're not covering it. This is a case that reaches the very top of power. This is a case that spans continents. But they don't want to report on it? And nobody wants to tell the House when they ask for information. They don't. The Department of Justice thinks that they don't have to give them this information. What sort of country do we live in, folks? The House committee also sent a letter to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement Commissioner Richard Swearingen asking for, isn't that the guy's name from Deadwood, by the way? Swearinger? I don't know, but maybe they're related. Asking for documents related to its investigation into the deal and Epstein's work release arrangement at Palm Beach County's jail. All you have to do is read the news. You'll see the whole entire agreement. It's been laid out for you in black and white by the Miami Herald, the Daily Beast, etc., etc. Insert outlet here. What more do you need? What more legwork needs to be done, folks? Two spokeswomen for the FDLE, Florida's top law enforcement agency, didn't return emails seeking comment. During his 13-month stay at the jail, Epstein spent most days at his office. Must be nice, huh? Must be nice. You go in there for traffic tickets, you're not getting no work release. You're not getting anything. All right, you're doing your whole entire sentence unless the jail is overcrowded, and then you might get bumped out. But for the most part, they don't care about you. They do not care about you. But yet this dude is getting picked up by his driver and stuff in the mornings while he's supposed to be doing jail time. Yeah, there's not a two-tier justice system. Sure, folks, wake up. His driver would pick him up and his driver would pick him and a guard up in the morning, and he would spend the day working and meeting with visitors before returning to the jail to sleep. Epstein was also able to visit his Palm Beach mansion despite restrictions on home visits. Epstein, 66, killed himself in a New York City jail in August, allegedly, after federal agents arrested him on new sex trafficking charges. Wow. Okay. So again, what we see is the Justice Department, the FBI types, these sort of people doing whatever they want, and nobody can hold them accountable. Not even the oversight committees, folks. These people aren't even elected. They're hired, they get in there, and they stay there forever. So if you get a bad one, it's like having a teacher with tenure. They are there forever. Okay? And that's bad news for everybody. Republican, Democrat, and everything in between. Next article. Rack 'em up. Rack 'em up, Bobby. Rack these articles up. Washington Examiner. ABC News to air Jeffrey Epstein special that does not include spiked Amy Robach interview. Is anyone interested in it then? Why are we going to watch it? What are they going to present to us that we do not already know? It's an absolute joke. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure we'll tune in because we can't have our appetite satiated about this topic. We're all crazy for it. So I'm sure we'll all watch it, but we're not going to learn anything new, I don't think. And if we do, well, hey, great. But can we see the interview that was quashed, please? Can you run that? We're interested in seeing that. ABC, Disney. Why does Disney even have a news station? Why don't they just spin their news branch off and be done with it? They need this controversy? ABC News will air a new documentary on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein next month, but it will not feature an interview with one of his accusers that the network previously squashed. The film, dubbed Truth and Lies, Jeffrey Epstein, will air 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Thursday, January 9th, and does not include Amy Robach's interview with Virginia Roberts from 2015, according to a person familiar with the documentary. The unaired interview became a public knowledge last month when Project Veritas released video of Robach from this summer expressing her frustration with the network's refusal to air her interview. I've had this story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air, Robach said in the video. First of all, I was told, who is Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. She also suggested that Prince Andrew's role in the story led to Buckingham Palace threatening ABC News a million different ways, and suggested the network didn't air the story because it was afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will. What? So you enable a serial sex offender so you can have have access to Kate and Will? I don't even know who Kate and Will are on the chart, okay? Where do they line up on the chart? It's all just an absolute joke, folks. Is this an alternate reality? Did when they turned CERN on, did it launch us into this alternate reality and just we're all dead and nobody told us? Because everything's batshit crazy at this point. What is going on? ABC News defended its decision not to air the interview because Robach and the investigative team was unable to verify key facts of Robert's story, a network executive previously told the Washington Examiner. I wonder why they don't use those standards for every story then. They should use those standards across the board, right? If not, it looks like they're playing politics. Oh, wait, that's exactly what all of these media outlets are doing. What all of these legacy media outlets are doing. All of these stations on TV, all of these people in the New York Post, all of these people in the Times, they are all playing political games. Robach, who claimed that her comments were caught in private moment of frustration, oh, what a backpedal, will not be featured in the documentary at all. The person familiar with the documentary told the Washington Examiner. Although the Roberts interview with Robach will not appear in the documentary, Roberts' interview with the BBC from earlier this month will be featured. So they're going to play the BBC interview with Virginia Roberts, but they're not going to play their own interview, the one that their star anchor got. They're not going to play that, though. Why not? What do they have in that interview? What's so explosive that they have in that interview that they didn't have in the BBC one? Robach says it herself. They have it all. They have everything. And then she goes on to say that she doesn't believe Epstein killed himself. So what exactly do they have in that story? Think it might be of public interest? I do. In addition to the 2-hour special, ABC News will launch a podcast hosted by Mark Remillard, meant to chronicle the powerful story of the women who survived his crimes and fought back to reclaim their lives, according to a network press release. Oh my God, really? Talk about sucking up too little too late. Now all of a sudden they're worried about the women? Where were you when Virginia Roberts reached out to you and pleaded with you for help? Where were you when she asked you to air these sons of bitches out? Where were you? The ABC News special features material from a 2003 interview in which Epstein discusses his life, deposition tapes of Epstein and his alleged co-conspirators, police interviews with the young girls, and their personal reactions today to seeing Epstein appear in court last summer. Epstein, who died in August of an apparent suicide in his New York jail cell, was awaiting multiple sex trafficking charges at the time of his death. His ties to disgraced Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein, Andrew, President Trump, and Bill and Hillary Clinton have all received additional scrutiny since then. Roberts, who has alleged that she was Epstein's... Nope, not using that word. They don't like that word. So we're not using the word that they put into this article. So we'll say Roberts, who has alleged that she was abused by Epstein, has accused Andrew of raping her 3 times despite his repeated denials. She claims that they met at a nightclub in London in 2001. Roberts characterized him as profusely sweating at the time they met. In a recent BBC interview with Emily Maitlis, Andrew pushed back on those claims, saying that, "I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose on adrenaline in the Falkland War when I was shot at. It was almost impossible for me to sweat." Well, I'm guessing that nobody in Chicago sweats at all then, because I'm guaranteeing that Chicago is a much more dangerous place than the Falklands were for you on your boat. He also claimed that he couldn't have assaulted her on one of those dates, Roberts alleges, because he was at a chain pizza restaurant with his daughters, while also saying he had no recollection of ever meeting her. Never mind there was a picture taking at Ghislaine Maxwell's house with his arm around her. Following the backlash from the interview, Andrew announced his withdrawal from public duties, citing the major disruption his associations with Epstein had caused. It's not his actions, right? No, it's not what my actions have caused. It's because I associated with Epstein. Not because I'm a sick perv myself or anything, but I associated with Epstein, so yes, I got to step back for a minute here, folks. We'll figure it out, though. We'll just save some face. I'll throw some money at some charities, and we'll do the rebuilding thing, right? The rebranding thing. Wrong. Not this time. Not this time. Sorry, Andrew. You took it a step too far. Being a playboy is fine. Cheating on your wife, if that's what you're going to do, that's your business. But when it comes to something like this, there is no going back. And that is why Epstein used young girls for his blackmail operation. Folks, I am convinced of it. The evidence points me there all the time. Look, do I have hard evidence of that? Do I have the Department of Justice saying that that's the case? Of course I do not have that. I'm talking about where the evidence has led us so far on this podcast and when you listen to others. It's very clear that this man was running a blackmail operation. He ran these young girls. Andrew got caught up, and now Andrew was owned. That's it. That's what happened with Prince Andrew, in my opinion. Pretty simple. It doesn't need to go much deeper than that with Andrew. He's a dullard, a buffoon. It was easy meat for them. His own cousin said it was easy. All right, folks, you can contact me at Bobbycapucci at protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI at protonmail.com. If you would like to help support the show, you can click on the GoFundMe link inside of the description box. I'll be back tomorrow, and we're going to do it all over again. Since we had so much fun today, we will do it all over again tomorrow. All right, everybody, enjoy your evening.